Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Clock Hour. And I have a very, very, very special guest with me here today. As I call all my guests very special, and this is one of them, and a long list of special guests. Miss Naida Hall.
Yes. Hi.
I got it.
You got it.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm all right. I can't complain. I'm trying to stay warm. But
Yes.
overall, you and we had a discussion about a few things yesterday. I know you got a couple of things that you're doing out here in the community. Can you tell the people what it is that you're doing?
Okay. Well, first of all, let me say that I finally, the things that I'm doing, I pulled it together under my business, which is called Healthy Soul Wholeness, right? And the wholeness is mind, body, and soul, right? It's
Okay.
the whole person.
Right.
And what we're doing is really, it's transforming from within. It involves consulting,
Okay.
training, and coaching. But the big thing that I have going on now is an initiative which is called Mothers Supporting Mothers. That initiative was birthed out of mothers who go through the criminal justice system with their children.
Right.
So I have personal experience with
Right.
that, right? And so because of my personal experience, and I know others share that experience, and shedding some light on your journey that you have in the criminal justice system
Right.
without even really being physically
Right.
there.
It takes a lot out of the family.
Yes.
It really does.
Right, the family, the parents, the children, the whole network. So
Right.
we were able to have a panel discussion the end of last year,
Okay.
and we had a panel of mothers, we had clergy, and it became raw.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were in a space where they felt comfortable, they felt protected, and they were able to open up and release some of the things that they had been carrying. And so that's part of it. I don't want to go too further.
How did
right?
you get clergy involved? Not to cut you off. How'd you get them
You
involved?
hey, you just talk to them and you're saying, wait a minute. You know, we see people get put on the sick list that have these terminal illnesses and stuff. And how often do we see those get put on the sick list because they have these behavioral problems or because they need a change? It's all the same thing. You know, a need is a need.
Right.
Right. And so my pastor was very willing and open to just absolutely be a part of this because nobody can do it alone.
Right.
We're all in this thing together. So it takes the person, it takes our clergy, it takes whoever it takes coming together to support and help each other.
Right. And that's you said a mouthful right there because, you know, some of us, we're so independent, we feel like we can do it by ourselves. I'm one of them. I'm guilty. But I know when to sit down and say, hey, I need a hand. I had to learn that the hard way. But,
Yes.
you know, a lot of times, even now, there's a division amongst our people, which it feels like we may be going back to this segregation. They keep bringing that topic up, you know, to the communities and stuff like that, which it'll hurt a lot of people. You know, but I like the fact that you're getting down in there and you're bringing everybody into the conversation.
Absolutely. You know, that was the first panel discussion of many, and I think that was the very foundational.
Right.
It was just let me come and let us tell our story.
Right.
And because of that, you would just, you know, you can't imagine the audience because that criminal justice system, it impacts every household, some shape, form, or some
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Some way. And so in the audience, you had people that were able to get up and speak and talk about things and to just release it, talk out loud.
Right.
You know, it's that thing where sometimes people don't say anything, and sometimes people don't know what to say to you.
And
They don't know how to
right.
say it. So it created an environment where you can just talk about, your loved one and what you're going through. And don't misunderstand. Nobody is, nobody is going along with bad behavior.
Right.
So, we'll just get that off the table. We're not trying to co-sign bad behavior. We're not going along with anything that would be disruptive to the law.
Right.
We're just talking about what it is,
Right.
and in your journey.
Yeah. And you have something else coming up also.
Yeah, so that was part one.
Okay.
So the next panel discussion is going to take place February 22nd, and it's going to be at the Berkeley Warner Recreation Center again in the community. And what we're doing there is that we have a criminal defense lawyer coming in,
Okay.
and we have an independent person of a young lady who has her own business, and they're going to talk about rights and responsibilities you have in the criminal justice system.
Right, that's good.
Helping people, me, you, youth, young
Right.
adults, understand what does all that really mean.
Yeah.
And how do you respectfully and be responsible to respond to the law when you're stopped. You have a responsibility too.
Right.
Whether you think it's right or wrong, and really helping each other understand what that means and how that needs to unfold. And let's just face it, such a time as this, we really need to understand that right now.
Yeah, because people are telling other people to get the passport card and everything, and you're looking at what credentials you're carrying on yourself and everything. So
Absolutely.
it's really tricky. So there's a difference for when a person of color get pulled over and a non-person of color gets pulled over. There's a difference. We get tensed up when we get pulled over, even if we didn't do anything. But
yeah.
when they get pulled over, "Hey, what'd you pull me over for, sir?" So they're the police. But when we get pulled over, we're tense. You get automatically, knowing you ain't done nothing. I've been pulled over all kinds of times. And knowing I ain't did nothing, but you're still tense. Coming from law enforcement also, you're still tense.
Yes, and I think this provides a platform. See, knowledge is power. It provides a
Right.
platform to understand, what the other person may be thinking,
Right.
but understand how you can think through, how you can walk through your responses,
Right.
and that's really important. And whether you think it was fair or just or right, but how we help our younger community control emotion and think more critical.
To be able to
Right.
fight it.
Right. Don't get emotional
Right.
in it. I'm right, I'm wrong. Well, or are you right?
Right.
But if you can sit down and have someone who's in the system really help you understand what your rights mean, maybe you're not as right as you thought you were. See?
True.
So,
True. And they
you
even drive different now. You're like,
Yeah.
where you going? What's your hurry?
Yeah,
They
we
drive
have
different.
to be honest with ourselves.
Right.
So really understanding what these things mean, now you can be responsible to respond
Right.
in a way that makes you just, as the, viable citizen you are to the community. Because the end game is, right, building our community. And
Yes.
everybody's a part of the community.
Yes.
And if we don't take the time to tell and teach, who's going to do it?
True. You're absolutely correct. And when I spoke with you yesterday, I was like, hey, that's a good idea. Because I've been to I think I forget the gentleman's name. They had the school to prison pipeline thing. I went to that a couple of times, and I come from that prison system. I worked in the prison system, so I wanted to know what was going on. So I became a sub after I retired. Let me go become a sub. So I'll frequent the high schools, and then I'll frequent the middle schools and frequent the grammar schools just to see what's going on.
Yes.
And I'll sit in the classroom and, I try to engage them. They want to talk, see what they want to talk about and try to engage them just so I know what's going on.
Right.
And it's confusing at times.
It's a lot going on. I mean, I have to think back a little bit ways. When
Right.
I was in school, of course, there's always things going on, but
Right.
nothing like it is now.
No.
There's a lot going
They
on,
have access to too
but
much.
everybody wants to know that you care about them.
Right.
And I think that's most important, that we care. We
Yeah.
care what happens to you, and if we care how you respond. Our kids are so smart and so bright. They have so much in them. And so let's help develop that. Let's help them bring it out in a way that complements their behavior. But you do it with understanding. You do it with knowledge. We can't just do it just off the whim
Right.
of how we're feeling, because we know we don't operate in feelings,
Right.
and I think that's the important part, letting them know, like, we're invested in this so that you understand, because quite frankly, do I understand? No, I'm not in that space.
No way.
That's out of my area. I don't know what it means to sit in this panel discussion and have someone walk through those things and giving you understanding and the backdrop, and then giving you a platform and instructions on how you respond to that is just powerful.
And it's moving. Everything is moving so fast.
Yes.
And you're looking at it. Wow, wait a minute, slow down. And it's moving. Like if you go to high school and they have these smart boards up there.
Yes, yeah.
And they're teaching from the smart boards and the internet, and you're listening and you're like, well, it's not to me, it's not set. I'm used to turning the page and this is what we're gonna do.
Right.
But it's up on that.
It's up there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a little tricky. Like one time I was at another school and the teacher was absent. I covered her class. So she went Zoom to talk to her kids. This is what we're doing. Yeah. So she taught her class from home. All I had to do was sit there and, kind of make sure they got all the equipment and everything that they need.
Yes.
Which is cool.
Yes.
Because you're really not absent because you're still in the class.
Right. And it's things are different, and you have to be flexible, right?
Right.
To make sure that you can continue to engage them
Right.
where they are, and that's really, really important. And engage them in the things that they are experiencing. So,
Right.
If you're having encounters or whatever, how do we help everybody? Right.
Yeah.
So imagine on the other side, as an example, if an officer or something stops you, how great are they going to feel that they're dealing with someone who is knowledgeable, who is acting in a responsible way, right?
Yeah.
It works on both
Right.
ways. That's the end
Right.
game, right? It's coming together.
Right. And I think we used to have certain cops work certain areas. I think we slipped out of that. But everybody knows certain police officers here in Waterbury. That's just what it is, because the town is just that small. But they used to have it to where these cops work, this demographics work, this cops work in those demographics. Like I was a recruiter. So I had Wilby, Crosby, and Kennedy. Those were my schools. Or Wilby and Crosby and Caner, maybe. Those were my schools. Pretty much the inner city schools, where my demographic was. That's how it worked. It worked out pretty good by it being that way, but I don't think that they're doing that way anymore. You know what I mean? Like, when you're leaving a bar or something, there's a white cop sitting in the parking lot. He don't know these people. The cop that knows those people looks like those people to me. That's just I worked in Georgia, Department of Corrections, predominantly black staff, warden on down. You know what I mean? And then when you get further up north, it's a mixture. They don't know them people.
Yeah. I'm not real familiar with that side, so I can't really speak on it. So I think I come from a place is I just try to
Right.
vibe with everybody.
Right.
Right.
And you do.
So, you know what, whoever you are or where you are, let's just try to get to know each other and figure each other out, because at the end of the day, you'll find that we probably, have a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
A lot of
We
similarities.
got more in common than
Absolutely.
we think.
Absolutely.
And I talk to veterans a lot. So, I like those conversations. You can't talk to everybody about the same things.
No,
You know what I
no.
mean? Knowing your audience is good, like Casey had just said.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll call. I talked to one of my vet partners this morning, a few minutes ago, and I'm like, yeah, I said that texting, that start getting on people's nerves. So I called you.
Yeah, because different generations.
Right,
You
right.
know, I used to do that with my son. He would
Right.
just, when we really just started a lot of text. Everything is text,
Right.
text, text. And I was just like, look,
Right.
stop.
And they do it
Because
fast.
you're texting. I can call you and we can get this conversation over in like a couple of seconds.
Right.
And I would be saying, like, dude, what's wrong with you? But guess what? He's saying, Mom, what's wrong with you?
Right.
Right?
That's
Two
it.
different perspectives. And eventually, you find a way to meet. I
Yeah.
text more. I figured it out. And sometimes he figures out, I'm not going to text. I'm going to drop a call, and you get that balance
Yeah.
going. But I think, what we're trying to do with Healthy Soul Wholeness
Mm-hmm.
and this initiative, Mother Support and Mothers,
Right.
is really touching those things from a very human, from a very practical standpoint. How do we help each other? What are those things that are heavy on you? And what could we do to support? And not what could I do as an
Right.
individual. Okay, what can we do? So now I know we got this person who's an expert over here.
Right.
We're going to bring them in, and they're going to give us some tidbits. And we got this person, right?
Right.
It's pulling those people that have the expertise in different things together, and let's share this information. It is just free information.
Right.
It don't cost you nothing. You don't have to pay. All you got to do is show up. The parents come with your kids, come with your parents, because everybody needs to be on the same page of understanding. If I say this is what it is, you don't want to take it and interpret it as meaning this when it means this.
Right.
But when we have someone here that can explain it to us and
Right.
help us all understand, what does this really mean to me? And then now I have the knowledge. Now, how do I respond to that, what you just shared with me?
Right. And have you been to any of the institutions?
Yeah, I've been there to visit. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never been in one.
Right.
I don't ever have a plan on going.
No, what I mean
I've never
by-
been in one, so I've only seen it from a different perspective.
Right.
But
as a
I've
visitor.
seen the results of it.
Right.
So
as a visitor.
I've seen people who have been in it come out.
Okay.
I've seen them go in, and I've seen them come out different. And not,
Right.
So that's what I've seen. I've seen the results.
Because it's possible to get in and hold groups.
It is. And that's ministry. You
Right.
have a lot of church organizations that have prison ministry.
Right.
So if you go back in the day, to me, that's prison ministry.
Right.
And there's absolutely a space for that, right?
Right.
It's a space for people who can go in and do those kind of things. And that's why I think it's so important. Everybody has a play, and you take your thing and you put it,
Right.
and a whole piece come together just really nicely.
And that puts you in touch with what they need. Because, like I said, I worked in the system, and some of them were not ready to come home. They weren't prepared.
Well, that's heavy,
Yeah.
because for me, I would say, why?
Because
Why don't you want to come home?
they've been sitting there for so long, and whatever growth they were on, it stopped from the time that they were picked up and locked up. It stops your whole growth.
Yeah.
So now you got to take them through and get them up to, say, for instance, 2026. They're not there. They're stuck in 87 or 97. They're stuck. So, what I used to do was sit down with them and ask them, are you ready? He was like, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I don't know. You got kids? Yeah. Are you ready to go home? And then I would start from there. I would get on the computer. You got a job? What are you going to do? What's your job? I don't know. And you start asking those questions, then you really figure out what you can do. That brings everything into full circle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because those are the ones that will sit there and help you when you need help talking to them kids.
Yeah, yeah. And so, like I said, I'm not, familiar with that. But what I hear you saying, it has to be a very, very strong and solid transitional program.
Right.
Me personally, I don't know. I haven't seen that. I heard there are some amazing programs out there.
Yeah.
There's one got a little insight into an Emerge program in New Haven.
Right.
Where, you got to have a program that people can relate to.
Yeah. And
because
having those people on the ground.
And people that they got a relationship they can vibe with that and understand what they're going through. But to open the gate and push them out, and you said there's a big gap of 10 years, and expect a person to be able to fumble through this.
Right.
And maybe that's why there's such a high recidivism rate, because there's nothing there to really do a thorough. And I don't know that there's nothing there. I can't speak on that. I'm just speaking because I don't know that industry. But if there's not anything there that could really say, no, we're not just going to push you out there like that. We're going to take our time and deal with you from a mental, spiritual, physical. You go back to that three-prong approach so that you can be made whole from the inside out.
And you take
now you can go to work, but you can't tell me you're going to open up the gates, you take this person and you put him on a job the next day and he's going to be able to function.
Yeah.
Maybe some people could, but the average person, that's a setup for failure. And they're going to end up right back.
That's the whole thing. So I would sit down. Come here. Sit down. And we would talk. And I tried to paint or look at that big picture to where, okay, there's kids out there. You are the OG. So those kids are looking at you, OG, what you doing? You just got out of what? Say, for instance, 19 years. OG, okay, now what are you doing now? Okay, you're an influence whether you want to be or not to some of these kids. What are you doing? What are you gonna do? Why not join forces with a local program that's helping these kids?
Yeah.
And be a part of something. Like I do a Lock and Key podcast. He's a former inmate, and we bounce stuff off of each other. Yeah. So what we're doing now is putting together a re-entry book. And then he's from Brooklyn. He lives in New Hampshire. But he can tell you the beginning parts from the arrests and pulled, like you said, but, talking to the legal side of things and, just all that. Yeah. Having the resources. And he's good, too.
Amen. You know what I'm hearing too? We talk about a lot of things. I think there are a lot of things out there. Yeah. I think there are people that, like you said, OGs that are out there that are working and helping. Right. But I think part of it is that it's all over. Sometimes there's so much going on that we don't okay, where do I go, right? Everybody's doing everything.
Right.
And so how do I pull it all together? Because I know there's people on the ground doing some
Right.
amazing stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe some of the stuff that you're doing, you don't know that this person over there is doing it.
Right.
And that how do you knit this stuff together? So one, we're not reworking
Right.
ourselves, we're not duplicating things, but how do we come to a place where there's some unified strategies
Right.
with
So
us?
what I try to do is I try to link you with certain people, and I can step back
Yeah.
because I know that that person got you. Or if I put you with somebody else, I know they got you because they know I'm not going to waste the time and make that effort if you're not who you say you are.
Yeah.
I don't do it. You know, just like my show. My show was for the people, by the people, about the people.
Yes,
So
wonderful.
this is what it's about. It's about you and what you're doing. So
Yeah.
when I leave here, I'm gonna make a couple phone calls and make sure you have the people that you need when you decide that you want to go further with what you're doing.
Yes.
I got
Well,
you.
what we need now is we need for people to show up
Right.
and get some free information.
That's
you
the
know,
22nd,
again,
right?
That is the 21st of February
21st, okay.
at 1 o'clock at Berkeley Warner Recreation Center. It is free.
Right.
There will be some light refreshments. We just need you to come and hear. We need you to bring your kids,
Yeah.
especially your adolescents and your young men.
Right.
They need to hear this. They need to know and understand it's free information for them. That's
Right.
all it is. It don't cost you nothing. You know, so when
Right.
people say, what are you doing? Okay, this is one thing we're doing.
Right.
This is one thing we're doing. We got a criminal defense lawyer who's coming for free. Don't want nothing. Coming gladly to share information from a place of knowledge and understanding.
Right.
So that is the appeal.
Right.
Yes.
So on the Hill, the 21st, Berkeley Recreation Center up there. Joining, I'm gonna be in the building. I'm coming.
Amen.
I'm coming too.
Amen.
I just want to listen. I never stop learning.
Yeah,
And
me
I
either.
appreciate you coming to the show.
Thank
and
you.
if you need to come back, I got room for you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're my hero. So we're gonna push this, and once you get the flyer, send me the flyer, and I got you.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And we're gonna meet a bunch of people along the way and
Amen.
get this
we just
message
gonna
out there.
Yes, aptly. Everybody working together. That's what it's about.
Right.
Yeah.
Peace. Thank y'all for
Thank
tuning
you
in
so
to the
much.
Clock Hour.
Yes.